Well, here we are again for our daily devotional because it's so important that we, as dunamis women of power, constantly devote our life to Christ. He is not just our Savior, but He is our Lord. That means whatever He says, all we have to do is say, yes, sir. Well, I am Dee Collins, and I am a dunamis woman, and we have been talking in our daily devotionals about prayer, because without prayer, women, we're just existing. God has given us the authority, the power to walk in His character, to be able to not only just pray, but see the results of our life and of our prayers. But we've got to position ourselves. And that's the key word, position ourselves properly to be able to see the results. So therefore, our minds have to be renewed. That's why Apostle Paul stated in Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that we may prove the acceptable will of God for our lives. That's our responsibility to prove it. And how am I going to prove it? Through my life of prayer. So we've been talking about the model that God gave, or Christ gave the disciples, which is the Lord's Prayer. And He's given that model just to be able to challenge and to reconstruct their mind and their thinking of how to position themselves as they move throughout the earth as His legal agents, walking not only in His character, but in His authority. And that's why in the first part of the prayer it says, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed would be thy name. Name means hallowed would be thy authority. Hallowed would be thy character. Hallowed means consecrate your authority. Consecrate your character. Make your character and the authority that our Father has given you, make it sacred to you. And He says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. That means His will. He's going to be determined to do what He shall do in the earth. Now, when you think about it, I'm going to our devotional part right now because I had to just give you that little foundation. But in the earth, not on earth, but in the earth. That's very key. It's very critical because we just look for things to just happen. We're on this earth and we just think things are just going to happen. No. We, as men and women, and in this case, I'm talking to you as a dunamis woman if you're a woman, we have been placed in this earth. But how did we get here? We got in this earth as God put man to the soil, the dust of the ground, and He created man. And then He put man to sleep. And as He put man to sleep, He took that rib and He created woman. Well, literally in that prayer, God is helping the disciples to understand that the will that He wants to do in this earth, and He's determined us as women, is going to be done in the soil of man. Earth means soil. So I want you to understand as a dunamis woman for our devotional, you cannot negate the fact that we are a part of man. Even you being here, your father had to release a sperm, which was now connected to the egg of a woman, which is your mother. And here you are as a woman. You've developed as a powerful woman. So in the earth, God has now raised us up in this era of time that we may pray that His will be done in the soil of man's heart, in the heart of man. That's why our hearts have been broken by our fathers, our husbands, men in our lives. Because when they're broken, they break our hearts because we carry their hearts. So I want this devotional for today to make you critically think, God, how can you use me that I may be a woman of power to do a work in the soil of man as I lift them back up to you? I pray. Pray for our men. Pray for the men in your life. Take this day to pray for the men in your life, whether it's your son, your husband, your significant other, your fiance, your future to be, your brother. Pray and say, God, I devote my life to pray that you do a work in the soil, the soul of the men in my life. That's what a dunamis woman does. I am Dee Collins. I am a dunamis woman, and make this day the best day ever. Talk soon.